Welcome to Awakenings with Edgar Casey's A.R.E, where together through some incredible conversations, we go on amazing journeys of discovery that might shape the way you think about things and could even change your life.
Today we're looking at an ancient form of divination whose origins can be traced back to ancient civilizations. Through the rhythmic movements of a pendulum, practitioners have attempted to pierce the veil and seek guidance from the universe. Our guest today is going to help us understand more about the art of using a pendulum. In her craft, she focuses mainly on moon magic and deity work. Now, she's currently a priestess of the crystal sunflower, where she works assisting others on their spiritual path. And she's going to talk to us all about pendulum dowsing. Welcome to the show, Melissa.
Hi, thank you. Happy to be here. Very excited.
Well, we're very excited to have you here. First, in case anybody might not know, what is a pendulum?
Yeah, absolutely. So a pendulum, as you mentioned, is another form of divination, and really it's just tapping into your higher self. So getting that little extra spiritual insight or guidance that you might need, the same way with, tarot or other divination forms like that. Pendulums are specifically yes or no questions, though. You can also ask it maybes, and I'll touch on that more later. But you're going to want to ask it yes or no questions, and depending on its movement and how it swings, you'll record those responses. So it might move forward or backward for yes, it might stop for no, and it'll be different on the pendulum. And you'll look at those responses and ask it those questions, and that'll give you those answers for that spiritual insight you're looking for.
So which way is yes and no, or does it change, or how do you know? That's a better question.
Yeah,
How
absolutely.
do you know which is yes or no?
So you're going to want to do an introduction with your pendulum.
Oh.
So you're going to want to ask it like, hey, what does yes look like? And it might swing one way, it might swing diagonally, it might swing horizontal, it might do nothing at all. And that'll be yes for it. And then you're going to want to ask it, what does no look like? And it'll do a completely different motion for that. And then I personally also like to ask it, what does maybe look like? And it'll do another motion for that. And you're going to want to record those and see what those motions are. And you're going to want to do this every time you sit down with your pendulum, because it might be different the next time. Not always, but it could be. So every time you're going to want to ask it, what do these responses look like?
Oh, see, I've been doing it wrong then. So I thought you ask it once, and then that's what you told me, and that's how it's going to be.
No, it might change. It might be different.
See,
not
now-
always.
Now all my answers could be wrong.
They're all suspect.
I got to start all
All
over.
suspect.
Getting all the wrong insight.
No wonder. That makes a lot of sense.
That explains a lot with my ankle.
So a pendulum, can it be can anything be hanging on a string? Like, does it have to be something specific?
Yeah, absolutely. So for starting out for beginners, typically you're going to want a crystal, and you're going to want a clear quartz crystal because that's just going to amplify your intentions, and you're going to want it to be symmetrical. You can put anything though. Some people like to use a sphere. They might use a token. I know someone who's used keys, just in a pinch, using their keys real quick for it.
I've heard about. I have a friend who does.
Yeah,
keys.
absolutely. Keys, or you can put your ring on a necklace chain and use that as well. So just about anything with a little bit of weight onto the end of a chain.
Oh.
So it's really more about your intention than the tool itself.
So my friend that used a key told me that she uses that when she's looking for something, like for some. That's the one that she uses when she's lost something.
Yeah, absolutely. You can use pendulums for finding lost items and having it just kind of guide you to where those are.
So like, is it in the basement? No. Is it in the kitchen? No. Like,
Basically, it'll just kind of follow it, and that's something similar that we do in modern day times with dowsing rods. That's where the term dowsing comes from.
Now,
with pendulums.
I've heard dowsing is about looking for water. Is that right?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It's finding water that's nearby or underground and trapped. And in the Renaissance era, they actually did the same thing using a pendulum. And they would find water and natural resources.
So then how did it transition from being something to find water with to asking questions? Or did it start out first as a question thing and then they went to water and now it's back to questions?
It kind of started more with the spiritual, but it did have that blend of science with it just because, it was so in tune with the earth, which really captured people. So because it was in tune with the earth and was able to find these resources, they took it a little bit further in wanting to find divine messages. So it kind of has that beautiful blend of science with the spiritual. Like even in ancient China, they had used it for geomancy, for where they might place certain buildings. So if they wanted to put temples in certain areas that were more spiritually enlightened, so that kind of blended the science with the spiritual.
Wow. And is there any similarity between a pendulum and the thing that they would
the
dowsing rods?
the Y thing.
They do share the same name, and pendulums, they can also do that, find resources that are nearby in water. So they do kind of share that in an aspect, and that's more of a modern day scientific version of the pendulum. Most people still use it in the spiritual sense, though.
Okay. All right. How does a pendulum move? How is it possible that a thing hanging from something, a chain, a rope, or whatever, can actually move on its own? Or does it move on its own?
I do believe it moves on its own, really more from your higher self. So tapping into the divine, and that's what moves it. There are other theories, though, that people believe, it's those involuntary muscles and spasms, and that moves the chain. But I see it more at the spiritual side when I'm asking questions, and just seeing the way that it moves is very in tune with what I'm guiding it to.
But even if it is the spirit, the muscle movements and things, if it is your higher self, it would still activate those muscles to move it in a certain direction.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah,
it doesn't
everything
invalidate-
flows through us
Sure.
by physically manifesting it onto this realm.
Right.
But they say the thing about the muscles, but I have watched my hands. Like I'm like, okay, I'm not moving anything, and they don't. Like it's not even like a little finger, like nothing. And it'll go this way. It'll start doing circles. I mean,
Yeah, absolutely. Like I'll have it swinging back and forth, and then I'll ask it a question, and it'll just dead stop for no. And I'm like, okay, if it was really, more scientific, it would keep swinging.
right.
But it stops.
Yeah, it would take a while for it at least to
Yeah.
slow down and.
Okay. Well, then here comes Will. I have tried every pendulum in history, known to man. And no matter what I do, I'm like, okay, show me yes. And it is like this. Show me no. Show me anything. And it does nothing.
Does not
it
move.
does not move no matter what I do
That's true.
or how I do it. It's like a dead weight.
Okay.
Why?
There's two things you're going to want to do when you first get a pendulum. And you've said you've tried several, which is good, because it may just not have been in a tuning thing. But when you first get a pendulum, you're going to want to cleanse it. And there's several ways to do that. You can do it with smoke cleansing with sage. You can use selenite, the purification stone. Leave it out under a new moon. You're going to want to completely cleanse it so that way it doesn't have any previous energy, and it's only going to hold your own intentions. And then you're going to want to do an introduction. I don't know if you've done that part or not.
I didn't say hi, I'm Will, but
It sounds a little silly, but you are going to want to get to know your pendulum and let it get to know you. So kind of make that introduction, and then I typically do this with asking like questions about myself that are very quick or easy yes or no. So like when first working with it, I was like, okay, do I like mac and cheese? Which is very obviously yes. And it would swing back and forth yes. Then I asked it if I liked water chestnuts. I hate those. And it dead stops for no. And I'm like, okay. And then I kind of introduced myself once I realized, the accuracy of the answers. And I asked it if it would be a conduit for me. It was very important to make that distinction and to ask it if it would serve me for this intention.
okay, it makes it sound so much freakier.
Oh,
It's
know,
like living
it's
like an intelligent thing that you're like, hey, I'm Will, nice to meet you. Come here often. What's your sign, right?
I know it's a little silly sounding and a little goofy, but I promise it's important to, kind of
Sure.
working with that and working for your higher self. It's going to be serving that purpose.
this is so good. I have never done any of that. I'm just like,
So-
woo, look at it go. And I just.
Yeah. Hey, and that works too if it's a little more in tune with you. But
Yeah.
I always make that introduction.
Yeah, I've always known that Karen is way more flowing with the spiritual energies and things like that. So it makes sense to me that it will work for you right out of the box, so to speak. Whereas me, who's a dead stick in the mud, nothing. So I will continue to try.
Okay.
But it is, it makes me very sad. 'Cause I want something special like that too.
Yeah, it's a cool interaction. So at least you're being open to it though, and you're still trying and wanting to do that. I would definitely say do that introduction.
I will do that. Yeah, we'll try that.
So I have purchased multiple pendulums that I have used obviously incorrectly, but I did sage a few of them. I recently just got another one. Well, they sell them here at the A.R.E.
Oh,
So every
okay,
time I'm here, I
fantastic.
go home with one, which is dangerous because I'm here a lot.
I know, seeing them all the time. Yeah.
So I have one here today. But so if I wanted to cleanse it with the selenite, because I can't find the sage that we have at home, how long do you put it on top of there? How does that work?
So I typically use like a bar or a tumbled piece of selenite, and I'll just kind of hold the piece and I'll move around with it in a circular motion. and I'll just energetically cleanse it that way.
Okay.
So you can do that. Some people have selenite bowls and they'll leave it in that overnight and let it purify that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you have to purify it regularly, or is it just once you're getting everybody else's juju off?
It kind of depends, really more for the first time. I would say after a few workings with it, you might want to cleanse it again, just as you would with any crystal or stone.
Right.
Oh,
So it's like
okay.
every morning you wake up and take a shower. Well, you gotta keep it clean too.
Yeah,
The maintenance.
refresh.
So I have another friend who uses a pendulum a lot, and she keeps it like in her bra because she
Oh,
thinks
okay.
that gives it more energy. Is that true? Do you think, or?
I think it kind of depends, on the person, and it might make it a little more connected to the heart chakra, I would say.
Yeah.
So add a little bit more of that positivity and love. I have my personal pendulum, and then I have one that I keep in the shop, and to me it soaks up the shop's energy. So it'll gets that positive vibes there. So I think
Gotcha.
they are a little bit different depending on where they're placed.
So I should not pick up Karen's pendulum and try to make it work for me, because it's gonna be like, what's that thing where in Avatar, the creature only selects the one person to work for him.
Oh, right, like the bond or whatever.
Dancing,
Yeah.
Right. So not
Is that true?
not
Yes,
good thing to
exactly.
do?
So I would say it's very specific for the person. So maybe if it's been cleansed, or you gave him the go ahead and be like, hey, if you wanted to use this, cleanse it and reset it. But I would not just, try it on your own volition, because it's going to be set for you.
Got it.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, what I've been doing wrong. When you've been sleeping, I've been, come on, work, dang it.
Going through
Give me
rifling
Karen's
through my
answers.
pendulums.
Now, earlier you mentioned that you can not just ask a yes or no question, but you can do maybe too. How does that
Yes.
work?
So I like to do maybe. I'll ask it to show me what a maybe response might look like. And for my pendulum, that's a little bit more of a diagonal emotional swing. And to me, that means like, okay, maybe I need to reflect on this a little bit more for myself and figure this out, rather than just getting an answer now.
Got it. So could it be like a magic 8-ball with all the different, you can say, because tell me what all signs point to no is. Show me what ask later is. Or like, can you ask any question, or is it just yes, no, maybe?
Really, it's just a yes, no, maybe, but you can rephrase any question to be a yes or no. So
That's true.
Okay. All right. Also doing it wrong.
yeah, you might want to look at phrasing or the verbiage that you're using.
So we've talked to people before who have used a pendulum. I guess there's a chart, or there's something you put down, and it's almost like a
Ouija
Ouija
board?
board, right? And it could spell out things. Is that not the
Some
case?
people have pendulum boards. Typically, they have the responses around the outer edge. So it'll have the yes, no, maybe. Rephrase is also another response on there. So some people use a board where it does have the written responses already, and it'll swing that way.
Okay, so it could be ask again later.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it totally can. Little magic 8-ball it.
Right.
I personally prefer just to have a flat surface.
Okay, that sounds good.
So we were talking earlier about different things you can use. You said you can use a key, you can use, but is there any type that just works better? Like any type of pendulum that works better?
Definitely the clear quartz, and you're going to want it to be faceted, which is very symmetrical. I can show you if you like. I have one that's kind of
Yes.
similar. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm like, ooh, fancy bags. Let's see what's in them.
So this is going to be your most basic pendulum, which is going to be the long chain and then the faceted crystal. This is a green aventurine one. I do recommend a clear quartz, but this is going to be your starter one of how you want it to be. Very symmetrical, very good beginner one.
And can you have, so I think they're pretty, so I have a few. Does it like, should you kind of stick with one, like one be the main one, or can you just use them all randomly?
I think it kind of depends on the service or the intentions that you want. So like I showed, this is a green aventurine one, which relates to abundance and wealth, and also with the heart chakra. So I might use this a little bit more for career or financial advice.
Oh,
That makes sense.
wow, that does make sense. Oh, I got to get more. I got a lot of questions,
Oh,
a lot of
boy.
different
One for all the
topics.
categories.
I'm
Karen
gonna
has,
have a rack in the bedroom with them all
Karen has
hanging.
a harem of pendulums. She's not married to just one.
So what's this other?
So this is my main one. This is clear quartz, so it's best for all workings, as it'll just amplify. It is a little bit different. It's a little more ornate. It has the beaded chain. It has the little token key on the end for the holder. So this is my preferred workings.
Okay. All right, so I got to show you the one I brought. Because I pick them by if they're pretty. I don't know if that's the right way.
Hey,
So
that's okay.
I don't feel left out at all. Not at all.
Well, you could have brought one.
I don't have one.
So, but mine has
Oh,
a
that's
sphere.
gorgeous. Yeah, it has the
that
sphere on the end and the chakras.
So, and I am so ignorant. So this is I did not. This is the chakras. I did not know this.
No, you're good.
And what kind of stone is the bottom?
It looks like amethyst to me.
Okay. And so you said so the sphere with the like point. Is there a reason that there's a point on the end? Do you know, or is it just because?
Not in particular.
Decorative.
Mostly because they want it to have that symmetrical aspect, even though a sphere works perfectly well on its own as a pendulum.
Okay.
Right. And it might it's like pointing this way, this way, this way. This way.
Yeah, if you
Right,
wanted
need
to use a board, it might be a little bit more like an arrow.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if there was a purpose for that. I think it's pretty. They have some really pretty ones here.
Yeah, it's
They have
gorgeous.
too many.
So what drew you to dowsing, to pendulums?
So it's kind of funny. I had known how they worked for a long while, and it really wasn't until at the Crystal Sunflower I was taking some photos of the pendulums that we sell. And as I was holding one and taking pictures, it was moving very directionally that I noticed. And I was like, okay. So I kind of stopped and was like, does this mean yes? And it started to move more swiftly. And I was like, okay, can you show me no? And it dead stopped. I was like, wow, all right. And just, I felt very in tune and very enlightened. And then I did a little bit of that introduction. And then I asked it, I was like, are you meant to go home with me? And it starts swinging yes. So I was like, okay. So I took it home that night and I've been working with them since.
See, that's one thing I do right. Whenever I buy one, I test them out like, are you coming home with me? And I do that yes.
Right.
So that's at least I did
Yeah,
one thing
yeah,
right.
no.
So that's good.
Absolutely.
And when you say that you're not doing it right, I don't know that that's
I know.
correct, because your intention, whatever there's a, I hate to say psychic connection, but there's a connection between you and your pendulum, which is telling you what the messages mean. So one of the things that happens with her is that she says, show me love. And the thing would just start in circles, massive circles. Is that common, or is that her putting that intention into the pendulum?
To me, that kind of comes off that like there's love all around you and in your space, and it's very encompassing. So that's not one that I've seen very often, but to me, that's how that reads.
Okay.
And just like you were saying, there really is no right or wrong, not with any of this, and it might just be fine tuning it.
Sure.
So can you use a pendulum to do a reading on someone else?
Yeah, absolutely. I use it more for personal self, but you absolutely could use it to read others and have them, kind of focus on the questions that they want and then be the holder and tapping into their energy.
Okay, so then they would need to hold the pendulum.
Or
wait.
Either or.
Okay.
The practitioner would probably hold
okay.
it.
I
She would read our
okay.
energies. So could you show us?
Yeah,
Are you willing to
absolutely.
do
I
that?
would be more than happy to. Would you guys like to ask questions or?
Yes,
Do you want
Karen.
me to?
No, you always make me. You go first. this
Because
time.
ladies first.
No, you go.
Okay. Yes, my question is will I be successful at my career this year?
Okay. Let me do my response questions with it because it'll be a little different.
Okay.
Can you show me yes? There we go. That's the back and forth motion it always gives me for yes. Can you show me no? And it always dead stops for no.
Wow.
All right, that's freaky.
Okay. And what is it you would like to ask?
Will I be successful this year at my job?
Will he be successful this year at his job? There we go, back and forth.
Oh, thank God. It wasn't moving for a minute. I was like, come on, move, damn it.
Sometimes it takes a minute. Now it's moving a little bit faster, a little more vigorously. To me, that's a very confirmed yes.
All right.
Can you show me no again? And we're stopped.
It's wild, isn't it?
Thank you, Pendulum.
Absolutely. Any other questions or spiritual insights you guys would like?
Will our daughter? She starts high school next year.
Oh, okay, exciting.
So, and she's been in private school, and so now we're looking at the public school system. Is that public school system a right fit for her?
Gotcha, okay. Is public school a right fit and something that will be beneficial to their daughter? Okay. It's giving me the very rattle. Oh. Okay, it's moving more diagonally. To me, this is my maybe motion. So it could be, it could not be. It might be something to dive into a little bit further and to reflect. But it is moving that more,
Okay,
not
so,
quite the straight line.
Right.
So, in the same thought, she's looking at applying to an art school that's part of the public school system. Will she get into the Governor's School of Art?
Ooh, okay. We'll see. I don't really tend to do fortune telling, so
Oh, okay.
I do like it to
Would
using
that
for
be a good option
spiritual.
for her?
Okay, there you go. And that's like the rephrasing that we might do. Okay. Could this art school be a good option and a good avenue? There we go, back and forth, very swiftly, yes.
Okay.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay,
Holy
So-
mackerel.
so
look at
that is, you know,
But now is it going a little diagonally?
it is slightly, but I'm also have my arm a little bit
Okay.
slightly diagonaled instead of completely straight out in front of me.
Okay.
One last question.
Absolutely.
Is humanity ready truly to awaken?
Oh goodness, okay. Let's see how she responds. I'm gonna go with yes on that one. It's swinging very vigorously, and I've had that before where I've had 2 yeses back to back and then been a little unsure, but. Okay, can you show me no again? Okay, I'm gonna go with yes for that one.
All right.
That's great.
Wow.
So if someone wanted to learn more about pendulum or dowsing or visit you at your place, what's the best way for someone to get a hold of you?
Yeah, absolutely. So probably through the Crystal Sunflower. Our Instagram is where we're going to put out all our messages and things like that. So
Do you guys have events as well?
we do. So we actually opened a second space this past spring. It's called the Growing Wild Sanctuary. And we hold full moon meditations there every month. We also have workshops and markets and several different types of events.
Right.
That's great. And your current space is in downtown Norfolk, in
It
the
is.
Freemason area. Great. So if
Right.
you're out and about, check it out. It's a very, very cool shop.
Yep, it is very cool.
And lots of cool pendulums too.
And it's great to have so many people in so many different locations helping to help raise the consciousness of the planet. So thank you for what you're doing as well.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
If you missed any of this or any of our other interviews, you can always go to edgarcasey.org/resources. You'll see all of those laid in there directly for you so that you can get yourself caught up. We really appreciate Melissa for coming on the show today.
Thank
And
you.
thank you for watching. Until next time, this has been New Awakenings with Edgar Cayce's A.R.E.